Hey everybody, we're going to take a really quick run here at Google Scholar. Google Scholar could be a really important tool for you to get some of the homeworks that are done that need to be done for BSE 508 and 509. Google Scholar is probably one of about 3 or 4 tools that I use every week, sometimes multiple times a day. One of the things I'm going to suggest to you right off the bat is to make sure that as you're doing your searches for homeworks with this class, make sure you're keeping track of your search strategies. If I'm doing research for a project, I will either have a document open and I'll just make some notes about the keywords that I'm searching, or sometimes I'll just write them down in a hard copy, shoot a photo of that, and I have something for documentation. So make sure you're documenting that, because I will come back and we will be looking for that documentation in the future in your design notebook as part of a future discussion assignment. So you can find your way to Google Scholar. I would recommend ahead of time that you spend some time learning how to optimize your general Google search. Okay, so know how to use wildcards, know how to use those operators like ands and ors and nots, and to be able to combine with parentheses so that you do a really good, effective, efficient job. Even when you do a regular Google search, I always talk about the importance of sharpening your axe, making sure that you're using the right tools. That will help you to really cut through things quickly and make efficient use of your time and your resources and your search strategies as you're doing these. Um, Okay, several things. Number one, come in through an actual Google account. Make sure you are the person signed on. You'll see why that's important in a few minutes. The main thing is it helps you to build a library, and I'll show you how to do that. So I'm just going to start out here, and I'm going to do a search for digital agriculture. You guys know it's an area that I'm particularly interested in. I start out here with this big search, and I immediately have over 2 million. That's 2,850,000. I'm going to exclude, I'm not going to include, but I will exclude citations and patents. In some cases, both of these are checked. Make sure that you're excluding citations and patents. Okay. So the other thing I want to do here is there's a particular article, you'll see why in a few minutes, that I'm looking for. I know that this article was published in 2019. So I'm going to just put in a custom range here. I could put in 2019 to 2019, but I'm going to do this broader window because I also want to look for things that have cited this one article that I am looking for. If I go to this, you'll see that my article that I'm looking for is not in here. So I'm actually going to add, I'm going to narrow it down a little bit. And I'm going to look at digital agriculture things just right here in the state of Wisconsin. And sure enough, the article that I know is out there. In most cases, you won't know the article you're looking for in advance. But in this case, I wanted to make a few points about this article. So this is, you can read the title. The authors are Dr. Drury here in BSE, myself, Dr. Brian Locke. This was published in 2019. This happens to be the article that I'm looking for. So there's 3 or 4 things that I want to point out to you. If you are logged into your wisc.edu Google account, and if you are on campus, or if you are working from home and you are logged in through your VPN or a VPN to the university, you will oftentimes be able to do a direct download, or at least go straight to the part of the library that has this article and actually locate and download the PDF. Okay. That will become really important when you go into the ASABE database, because you do have to be logged into the library to be able to access that particular database. Some other things that I wanted to just point out. Remember, I said there are 3 different things, actually 4 different things. One is, if I'm really interested in this article and I want to look at things that are related, I can click on related articles. That's obvious. I can also look at who in the future, after this was published in 2019, who subsequent to 2019, the publication date, in this particular case, it was October of 2019, but who after that time cited this article. Now realize that nobody before this was published is going to be citing it, because it's not possible. But anybody after that, you'll be able to locate the authors or the papers or the technical documents that cited. So there are 8 different people or 8 different papers that cited this particular document. So that can be a really important way of following, I guess I'll call it following the breadcrumbs or following the trail forward. Sometimes we want to follow trails backward in time, but if you look at who cited these articles, And you can also do this, by the way, in Web of Science. If you look at who cited those, you can actually get more information and you can find things that are really closely related. So that's pretty obvious. Here's another one. This is super cool. These little quotation marks, if I click on the quotation marks, it will give me, in most cases, a properly cited, formatted a citation that I can cut and paste. So for the homework that's associated with this class, I'm asking that you put that into your annotated bibliography in APA format. There you go. You have a perfectly formatted APA citation. In some cases, you may need to tweak this a little bit. In some cases, there may be a little bit of additional information needed. But for the vast majority of you who are finding technical articles and journal documents, that would be a perfectly acceptable citation, and it will save you a little bit of time. The other thing that I mentioned, I talked about the importance of being logged into your Google account. And the reason why that's important is we all have the ability through our individual Google accounts to maintain a library. And the way that you add something to your library, you can see here by this citation, it's already starred. So if I click on that, I unstar it and then I star it back. I have now added that particular reference and resource to my library. So what does that mean? If I go up to the upper right-hand corner, if I'm logged onto my Google account, I can go to my library. This happens to be my library, and I have sorted it based on labels. So Google allows you to add labels. It's kind of like tags. You can add labels to these different citations that you save. And it's just a really fantastic way of being able to go in and categorize things. So you can see my library contains a whole bunch of stuff. I won't read through all of this. One of my tags here is digital ag. So if I wanted to tag this article that I just saved into my library to digital ag, I would click on it. I would go up here and I would tag it as digital ag. I'm going to do that. And then I would apply. If there was a tag here that I wanted to add, I would simply create a new tag or a new label. In the case of Google Scholar, they're called labels. So I want to go back and retag this one as digital ag. And there we go. When I go to my library under digital ag, it's that one right there at the very top. So you can see I've got a ton of articles already saved under that tag. So that hopefully helps you. Again, use the quotation marks to grab your APA citations, use the library function, use the fact that you can log into your account and log in through a VPN, or if you're on campus, you can log into your wisc.edu account. You can find articles, you can save articles. And then, as I talked about, make sure that you're keeping track of your searches as you do all of these different searches. Excuse me, whether it's on Google Scholar, Web of Science, or some other database, and that will really help you save time down the road. Let me know if you have any questions. I look forward to seeing your reports and your citations, and hopefully this is helpful. Talk to you soon.